thank you for the courage to say that Canada denied you. They can go to hell. Even though it's painful, it's disrespectful, but we are people. We are strong. And I agree with you. We have to fix our country. We have to do it well. Yes, this disrespect is too much. So, yet is another reason why we work hard to make Nigeria work and be respected.
NSA Nuhu Ribadu. Ṣé lóòótọ́ ni pé kí Canada kí wọ́n kóra wọn dà sọ́hùn? Ṣé lóòótọ́ ni kí Canada lọ kú sígbó? Ṣé lóòótọ́ ni kí Canada kan lọ ṣègbè dànù? Àbí ẹ ràn mí lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ tí wá jẹ́ ẹni tó gbọ́ Yorùbá, kí ni ìtumọ̀ go to hell? Wípé lọ hell ni iná léru, iná ayérayé pé kán lọ jó dànù sínú náà. Officer Ribadu NSA, ṣé ìdáhùn la máa pe eléyìí láti ọ̀dọ̀ yín wá ni àbí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ kan bínú sọ̀rọ̀ tẹ̀kàn sọ̀rọ̀ gbì outburst tẹ̀kàn jábọ́? Ṣé ẹ̀ ń react ni? Ṣé ẹ̀ ń fèsì ọ̀rọ̀ ni àbí ẹ̀ kàn ń gara? Ṣé nǹkan tẹ́ sọ yẹn ṣé ó dá yín lójú ni àbí nǹkan tó dá yín lójú lẹ sọ? Ṣé ó kàn ṣòjijì ni? Ṣé ó kàn wá spontaneous ni? Lóòótọ́ Canada nǹkan tó ṣe owó offend wa, ẹ̀yin gan wà offended, ó bí inú nǹkan tó ṣe, ó bí inú. Ẹ dẹ̀ ní ẹ̀tọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí NSA tó jẹ́ orílẹ̀-èdè olómìnira Nàìjíríà láti dáhùn, ṣùgbọ́n ṣẹ́yìn ló yẹ kẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn. Nígbà tá a ní iléeṣẹ́ òkè òkun, a ní iléeṣẹ́, a ní àwọn ambassador, a ní àwọn tó jẹ́ pé iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n láti máa dáhùn orúkọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Tẹ́ bá tẹ̀fẹ́ dáhùn, ṣé irú bó ṣe kẹ́ dáhùn nìyẹn? Mo gbàgbọ́ pé ẹ ní ẹ̀tọ́ láti dáhùn, but ṣẹ́yìn ni iṣẹ́ tí ń láti dáhùn, àti àwọn bá fẹ́ dáhùn ọ̀nà tó fi ń dáhùn nìyẹn. Kò sí orílẹ̀-èdè kan tó tóbi ju orílẹ̀-èdè míì lọ nítòótọ́, ìyẹn àkọ́kọ́ gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ yẹn náà. Kò sí orílẹ̀-èdè kan tó tóbi ju orílẹ̀-èdè lọ, tó lágbára jù lọ, nítorí orílẹ̀-èdè olómìnira ni orílẹ̀-èdè olómìnira. But ṣé ìyẹn ni, is that your best reaction? Ṣé ìyẹn ni èsì tó dáa jù tẹ́ lè fi fún irú situation tá ti find ara wa? Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ bá ń wonder pé kí nìkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀, ipe kan go to hell tí Ribadu sọ kíkẹ́ Canada should go to hell. Mo ń kà ní bíbáyìí nínú Punch ọjọ́ on the 13th of February, ó máa jẹ́ ọjọ́ Thursday. Punch sọ pé go to hell. Ribadu sọ fún Canada nítorí pé wọ́n fún àwọn olórí ológun Nàìjíríà ní visa. Ó wá kà pé National Security Adviser Nuhu Ribadu ó ti sọ fún ìjọba Canada pé lórí pé wọ́n fún visa fún Chief of Defence Staff ẹni tó jẹ́ olórí ológun aláàbò Nàìjíríà General Christopher Musa àtàwọn ọ̀gá ológun. Ó ní Ribadu sọ pé ó sọ̀rọ̀ yìí lọ́jọ́ Thursday níbi tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe nǹkan kan ní Institute of Security Studies ní Abuja, tó sọ pé eléyìí tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n fún wọn ní visa yẹn pé kò bójú mu, ipò tàbùkù, ó wà disrespectful. Ó dẹ̀ sọ pé Canada can go to hell. Mo ṣe ọ̀pọ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lọ́mọ meaning go to hell ní Yorùbá. So wọ́n ní his reaction came pé eléyìí ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà tí General Musa àti àwọn officers tó jẹ́ pé ọ̀gá ní sójà àti military tí wọ́n fún wọn ní visa, tí wọ́n reject visa wọn ní Canada. So ọ̀gá ológun yẹn dẹ̀ sọ, ó ní pé àwọn Canada ló ní kí àwọn wá, ipe káwọn wá. The CDS explained that the delegation had been invited to an event honoring war veterans but was left in limbo after the embassy denied visas to some of its members. So kì í ṣe àwọn Nigeria military náà kọ̀wé pé àwọn fẹ́ lọ sí Canada. Canada ló sọ pé òkè wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe ayẹyẹ láti fi ṣèrántí àwọn ológun tí ó ṣubú lójú ìjà, pé kí wọ́n wá. Kì í ṣe àwọn eléyìí náà kàn tọ́nà wá wàhálà, kàn tọ́nà wá ìwọ̀sí. So now gbà tí kíní dẹ̀ wá ṣẹlẹ̀, kí wá ní ọjọ́ ibi tí ó ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ní Ribadu náà tó jẹ́ National Security Adviser, ìyẹn náà ó wà ní event yẹn, ló bá gbà tó máa dáhùn sí nǹkan tí Chief of Defence Staff sọ, ló ní pé Canada pé they can go to hell. Now mo bèèrè pé ṣé nǹkan yẹn ó kàn sọ ní ìsọ ṣakala ni àbí kò ní àǹfààní láti ronú lé lórí mi mọ̀ ṣé bí máa yẹn ṣe sọ ṣé bí Chief Gen Musa ṣe sọ lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ yẹn ṣé ìgbà yẹn ló ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbọ́ ni tó fi jẹ́ pé èsì tó fi nìyẹn ṣé àbọ̀wọ̀n àti Gen Musa wọ́n ti kíra tẹ́lẹ̀ tó jẹ́ pé ó ṣeé ṣe kán ti fi ọ̀rọ̀ jomi tó rọra láàrin ara wọn ṣé ó ní oore ọ̀fẹ́ láti ẹ̀ ti ronú sí fún ìṣẹ́jú kan àbí méjì ṣá àbí Gen Musa ti sọ fún wọn ṣẹmọ intelligence kìíní ilé èkó ṣe kan tó lè falẹ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ tí wọ́n ti deny wọn yẹn ṣé ó ti sọ fún ọ́fíìsì wọn kó ti communicate pé just for your information FYI iná máa ń pè ní office place for your information pé on NB pé note well pé nǹkan bàbá ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ṣé ó ṣerú ẹ̀ àbí kò tiẹ̀ láǹfààní ṣé bí Gen Musa ṣe sọ̀rọ̀ tán ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló ṣe bọ́ sí orí àpèrè yẹn ló ṣe bọ́ sí orí pẹpẹ láti sọ̀rọ̀ ṣé kò sí ìṣẹ́jú kankan láàrin ẹ̀ tí Officer Ribadu tó lè fi farabalẹ̀ kó fi wo àgbékalẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ló sọ ká lára tó fi sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣé Chief of Army Staff kò sọ anything nípa kíní fún Ribadu káàtẹ́ níwọ̀n sọ tó dà pé kíní ò gba ọ́fíìsì NSA kọjá tí wọ́n fún wọn ní information yẹn now Ribadu ò ṣe Minister of Defence is the NSA òun ni number one intelligence person yes intelligence is very very huge in any country but as the number one intelligence man in Nigeria orí table Ribadu òun ni anything intelligence especially with foreign countries low end even internally both internally and externally now was Ribadu prepared for that statement even tó bá jẹ́ pé ó wà privy to that information tó bá tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé ó wà mọ reason tó ṣe deny wọn ṣé wọ́n ṣe ń dá wọ́n ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ ní diplomatic space nìyẹn ṣé wọ́n ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ ní officially nìyẹn I mean I don't get it this Ribadu is not a small man he is an astute administrator he has been an excellent administrator wọ́n recommend ẹ̀ ní fún Ọbásanjọ́ nítorí pé he is a brilliant officer he was a brilliant he has been a brilliant officer he is still a brilliant officer and I know that gbogbo àwọn tó bá ti dé level wọn tó bá ti dé kéda yẹn wọ́n máa ràn wọ́n lọ sí Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies ní Kuru so he knows what strategy is this is somebody to study abroad torí gbà tí wàhálà Ọbásanjọ́ pọ̀ ngbà yẹn tán yọ tán ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ló dọ́gbọ́n tó lọ kàwé sí lókè òkun so kì í ṣe pé bóyá ẹni tí ò mọ̀kan tó ṣe rárá kì í ṣe ọlọ́pàá gbẹ̀gbẹ̀ rárá ọlọ́pàá gidi ọlọ́pàá tó kàwé gidi gan ni tó gboyè at least as an administrator and civil servant that is not even civil language for a civil servant okay you are no longer a civil servant o ti di public servant in sin government appointee ni ẹ o wà ní presidency is that the best even tó bá jẹ́ internal situation Nigeria ni tó yẹ pé lábẹ́lé is that the best tí bí Nuhu Ribadu ṣe dáhùn ẹ wo kì í ṣe pé mo ń gbé lẹ́yìn Canada o ìtorí wọ́n ní ká kọ́ lọ́rọ̀ yọ̀rọ̀ náà ní ká tó wá fàbọ̀ fàdíẹ̀ torí pé nǹkan tó ṣe it was confrontational and it was an insult to Nigeria though mo mọ̀ pé náà Nigeria kan dùn síná pé ó yẹ kán ti máa dá àwọn lórí wa lọ́wọ́ kọ́ tó wá ti ṣe léè tipẹ́tipẹ́ ni táwọn èèyàn kó ṣe Canada nìkan tí àwọn èèyàn Nigeria tó jẹ́ olórí wa tí wọ́n bá rí ibi sá sí tí wọ́n bá rí ibi tí wọ́n máa sá lọ tó bá ti ṣù àbàjẹ́ wọn tó ti kó wa àbí tó ti ṣe àṣemáṣe tí wọ́n bá rí ibi máa lọ sá sí pé bóyá wọ́n á gbélé ìdí wọn á gbé jẹ́ wọ́n á fìdí mọ́lé àti pé tí àwọn country yìí tí wọ́n bá jẹ́ kó máa wá sí ọ̀dọ̀ wọn báyìí bí irú eléyìí tí Canada ṣe bóyá wọ́n á tún Nigeria tò débi pé wọn ò ní máa lọ káàkiri now a lè bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ lábẹ́lé báyìí ká tó wá sọ pé àwọn external stakeholders wa bíi Canada àti other sovereign and countries èmi ò rí pé Canada ju Nigeria lọ wọ́n ṣe sovereign la ṣe sovereign wọ́n ṣe wà independent la ṣe wà independent ibẹ̀ yẹn kọ́ ni mò ń lọ but the fact pé àjọ wà ní commonwealth country ni àdẹ̀ kò sí ogun láàrin wa was that the best response mi ní Ribadu ò ní response o èmi gan ní response ìwọ náà ní response gbogbo wa ní response ṣebí response kan la ṣàgbọ́ lẹ́nu chief of defence staff yẹn ẹgbọ́n nǹkan tí màá yẹn sọ ó sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n máa sọ pé àwọn military pé gentleman ni wọ́n ẹgbọ́n nǹkan tó sọ ó ní every disappointment is a blessing ọ̀gá ológun yẹn ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ o ó ní yesterday I was meant to be in Canada for an event to honour our veterans those injured in battle we were invited along with our team but while half of us got visas the other half was denied it is very disappointing Musa said he described it as the move as a wake-up call for Nigeria to strengthen its sovereignty. This is a reminder that we must stand on our own, stand strong as a nation and refuse to be taken for granted, he said. Gbogbo ilẹ̀ gbóyìnbó tí mo sọ yẹn ó sọ tactically ó sọ tacitly ó sọ diplomatically ó sọ maturely ó sọ intelligently ó sọ strategically ó sọ commonsensically ó sọ in a way tó jẹ́ pé brilliantly he put it succinctly he put it aptly he put it wisely every good word let me find can you imagine that under that situation of provocation. That's a brilliant officer. That is a fantastic officer. That is an officer that par excellence. That is officer that understand tact and diplomacy. That is officer that understand organizational communication. That is officer that understand international communication, international politics. Kí ni ẹ ká lára? Ṣùgbọ́n ẹ wo bó ṣe gbé wá, ó gbé kúrò lára. Ṣùgbọ́n ó ní ó ṣáà ní bó ṣe sọ, ẹ ṣáà gbọ́ tí mo kà lóyìnbó yẹn. Honestly, ó dẹ̀ sọ mi ìrókò ó kọ́lẹ̀ but ó sọ maturely. Ṣé wọn èèyàn ń dé àwọn sójà nǹkan tó máa ṣe inú ẹ̀ ló wà. Kì í ṣe pé ní kankan tó fẹ́ ṣe fún Canada but ẹ rí pé farabalẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn dáadáa. So just so you know, I'm not validating Canada or me validate nǹkan tí Canada ṣe rárá. I am not approving what they did because àròpọ̀ ṣe sí ọ̀gá ológun yẹn wọ́n ṣe sí Nàìjíríà ni but tó bá jẹ́ ó múnú àwọn Nàìjíríà dùn mi ò lòdì sí. Nǹkan tó ń ṣe wà questionable because kò yẹ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ rárá because kò yẹ kí wọ́n torí ẹ̀ grant half of those entourage ní visa sí the same trip ni o the same event ẹ wá deny half tó kù. Kí ni yẹn mean? Kí ni wọ́n rò? What were they thinking? Mo ṣì ń bọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ Canada. Ẹ jẹ́ kí padà sọ́dọ̀ Mr. Ribadu. Pé kàn go to hell. Kí Canada go to hell. Ṣé kàn go to hell ṣá? Should Canada really go to hell? Tó bá ní grievances kankan as a public officer to represent Nigeria as a leader as the NSA of a sovereign country. Kí ló happen? What happened to the principle of reciprocity? If they do you in a certain way, you do them in a certain way. You teach them their own lesson in a clever way. Bobby CGS, be army officer ṣe sọ̀rọ̀. If you check me, I shake you. If you push me, I push you. He didn't talk. Only bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa dáhùn. Ṣé mọ̀? Wọ́n ní silence is the best answer for a fool. Àwọn ọgbà mi, silence speaks, action speaks louder than voice. You have the opportunity as a sovereign nation láti reciprocate. Kẹ́ lè fi show displeasure yín láti match wọn. BS for BS, action for action. What is the place of that, Mr. Ribadu? You have every opportunity for response. But what is the place of tact and diplomacy? Even if you were hearing that thing for the first time from the Chief of Army Staff, was that a professional way, a professional, trained, courteous officer? You know, officers abroad, police, especially the civil officers, when they want to arrest people, they will kill you. They will finish you with courtesy, not kill. They will treat you with so much courtesy that even when they are putting your hands behind your back and putting handcuffs, they'll be saying, "Sir, can you have your hands to your back? Sir, can you just raise your hand up? Sir, can you drop what you have in your hands? Sir, can you turn your back? Can you just lay on your..." Sir. I know you are a professional officer. You have excelled everywhere and in every of your calling, and this should not have been different. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to courtesy and communication. Especially, you are not under duress. You are not under pressure. You are not under a situation where you could have given a spontaneous reaction without giving it a thought. Even with your training, you know how. It's just like Nigerians those days. When people write applications, they will say, "I can work, I can function under pressure, or I can deliver under pressure." You are people, you have seen death face to face as a professional officer. You have been threatened, and I know you are not giving this kind of responses in those situations, not to talk of a situation of no personal threat to you. But yes, it's a threat to our nation because it's a very, very terrible vibe from Canada. It was a wrong signal from Canada. It is not acceptable. But as a professional intelligence officer who understands not just the policing, not just the intelligence aspect, but the communication aspect of your role as the number one person in Nigerian security. You are the brightest police brain we had at a time. I don't know now. You are still a very brilliant police brain. You have held position in our country. Was that even from the office of the NSA, is that an appropriate response? You are occupying the most sensitive position in Nigeria intelligence. Was that the best response? You know, someone told me something sometimes ago. He asked me if I knew the definition of diplomacy. And I said, yes, I do. I gave him that definition in English. I said, I can even look it up in the dictionary. He said, no, calm down. Diplomacy is when you tell somebody to go to hell and they look forward to it. Let me say it again. Diplomacy is the art of telling someone to go to hell and the person will look forward to it. Who wants to go to hell? But you say going to hell in a nice way that the person will say, when it is that hell, I want to go to that hell, I want to go to that hell. Just because of how nicely you put it. Sir, have you heard that you could say nice things, serious things in very nice ways and still not lose the meaning to the hearer? Sir, wow. What you said is not palatable. It is not, it's uncouth. It is not expected of two nations that are not at war. Yes, they threw the first, missile, or what would, salvo. But do you remember when United States came up with a visa policy some time ago, where they were charging our people, they were saying they should pay some excessive amount of money? Do you remember that the country, Nigeria, reciprocated equally? That's what they call doctrine of reciprocity in diplomacy. Nigeria did not shout. They only increased their own fees, and then America had to adjust. They made them, on the same level. Right? And what you need to know is that some countries need Nigeria than Nigeria needs them. Some countries have a lot to do with Nigeria than Nigeria has a lot to do with them. So, Canada is not like so immune to Nigeria because we have a lot to do together. And there are a lot of ways that if you communicate what as you want. Reciprocity. Right? It's very sensitive. You don't come to public and address issues like that. Nigeria have suffered this kind of conversations in the past when Nigeria used non-career diplomats. They were just falling our hands all over the countries of the world. They did not understand what diplomacy was about, and because it was a political appointment for them. And there was a time that we were a pariah state. It was very, very difficult because some of these people made it worse. But the professional, diplomats among them, you see that they came out excellently, and they were even the saving grace of the regimes, even the civilian regimes. A lot of them appoint non-career diplomats, and they don't know the damage that they are doing to the image of our country because these people are not representing Nigeria. A lot of them are misrepresenting Nigeria. Sir, Mr. Ribadu, when you said go to hell, what were you thinking? Did you know what you were talking about? You are not talking to private people, sir. And you are not talking among officers, maybe, in the officers' mess, maybe you are just, gisting and playing. You couldn't say this kind of things. There are places that you can say that kind of thing. Maybe in the office or casually in a private conversation, and that will not have any implication. You understand? But you know that you are before the press. You are not new to press. You have been a high-ranking officer for a long time, and you are standing before the press. You know what press is. This press thing is online now. Everything is global. It's not even print media. I'm still trying to understand how you process that thing for you to come and say that. Have you considered how many Nigerians you have in Canada where two countries fight? It is the grass that suffers. You have a lot of people in Canada. I live in the United States, and I know how many people from the United States have had to cross the border to Canada. tó jẹ́ pé Canada yẹn ni wọ́n mọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ilé ní tó jẹ́ pé Canada yẹn náà ti rí títí wọ́n ṣe. We need to fix our country, but you do not realize that you make things tougher for people. To buy innocent Nigerians, someone ní kankan ṣe pẹ̀lú eléyìí, there are stumbles that are avoidable. You didn't need it, sir. Yes, you should not have done that at all. It is a misrepresentation, because more countries of the world, more external countries have business interests in Nigeria, so they need us more than we need them in some aspect, to some extent. Mr. Ribadu, were you replying Canada on behalf of Nigeria, or you just gave that as a personal reaction? Was it in your personal capacity? Was that in your private capacity, or in your official capacity? What were you thinking? What was that thing that you did? No diplomats talk like that. No person that is in a high office and communicating strategically and will be taken as the image of the country. You are like the image bearer. The same way the embassy was the flag and image bearer of Canada, you are an NSA and you have an office, a highly exalted office, very sensitive. They will take your word as if it's Nigerian response to the situation. No civil servants talk like that. No public servant talk like that. You are a public servant. You are a presidential appointee. And the office you are occupying is the presidency. You are not talking as if you are saying something to a citizen of Nigeria. If you are speaking to us, to be recognized as such. You are not acting as a private citizen. And you went to that event in your official capacity as National Security Advisor of Nigeria. So what happened to the fact that you need to be conscious of your role and where you are? It's not a private conversation. What happened to tact? What happened to, there's communication, organizational communication, there's bureaucratic communication. Okay? What happened to that? What happened to formal communication, even whether a speech is spoken or is written? What happened to strategy in speech? What happened to tact? Sir, You are a high-ranking police officer. I know it's either you are in the rank of AIG or something like that now. If you were even going in the police career, you probably have been being an IG or current IG by this time. You are a criminal investigation officer. You have ways you ask questions from people. You have ways that you respond to things from people. You have a psychologist by training. You know how, you have a lot of psychology in your training. You know how to respond to things professionally. You are not the foreign minister, sir. No. Yeah, we need to treat whatever came from Canada, but is it the way to go about it? Canada is not bigger than Nigeria. Canada is a nation, Nigeria is a nation. No matter their advancement, you are not supposed to make that kind of refusal that you did to the officers, even though I know a lot of Nigerians are very happy that it happened. But Mr. Ribadu, you are not supposed to complicate it for people who are innocent, you know, because it's not in your place to make that kind of statement. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is there. You know, at least there should be a government official response, because that's our Nigerian army. That is the strength of Nigeria. That's the strength of our defense. If the army was denied, probably there should be a kind of communication. There will be some level of communication as army and as the army and also as the country. So would I say that you overstepped your role now? You kind of went, you just fired that salvo, right? You went bombastic on them. You just gave it to them. You know, lawyers will say it is ultra-virus. Was that not ultra-virus? Did you have that position to speak as the NSA in that place, or as Mr. Ribadu? Like lawyers will say, it's ultra-virus. It's beyond your responsibility and capacity at that point in time. Lawyers will say you went out of your jurisdiction to respond to something that in an unofficial manner. And you know, this is something of critical importance and very delicate for our country. When you find yourself in such a situation, you have to think it through, because we are not at war with Canada. And when something happened, it happened unprovoked. Our officers didn't do anything. You totally misrepresented Nigeria and our image by the way and the attitude that you responded to that issue by yourself. Kilode, I mean, you know, I mean, in what capacity lẹ fi sọ̀rọ̀ sí báyìí? Ẹ jẹ́ kí n fi Canada parí nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ yìí, torí pé nǹkan tó da ọ̀dà ni, nǹkan tí ò da ọ̀dà. Canada ò ń ṣe ọ̀run. Canada is not heaven. You know, lóòótọ́ la ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan láti ṣe pẹ̀lú Canada, but nǹkan tó ṣe wà confrontational, and it was very blatant of them láti refuse the chief of army staff Nigeria nígbà tá à sí lógun àbáwọn jà àdẹ̀ níṣòro kankan pẹ̀lú wọn. We have a cordial relationship between Nigeria and Canada. Canada ló invite wọn, wọ́n dẹ̀ lọ ẹ̀dẹ̀ process visa fún Dajì, ẹ̀ wá insult àwọn tó kù, ẹ̀ kàn fi backhand gbá wọn lójú, ẹ̀dẹ̀ náà wọn, ẹ̀ wá ní kọ́ máa ké, kò yẹ kó treat Nigeria bẹ́ẹ̀. Canada know pé wọ́n mọ̀ pé for whatever it is worth, kò yẹ kọ́ tiẹ̀ kọ́ invite àwọn people yẹn rárá, torí wọn invite ara wọn. Ṣé ti understand? Denial yẹn, I mean, kò yẹ kó wáyé, because ẹ̀yin lè fúnra yín invite wọn. Mi ò sí mẹ́rin tó tọ́ná, mi ò dẹ̀ ṣe defence attorney fún Minister of Justice Nigeria, you know, but embassy Canada ó represent Canada ni, àwọn ni flag bearer, àwọn ni representative Canada in Nigeria. Nítorí ìdí eléyìí nǹkan tí wọ́n ṣe Canada ló ṣe. Action wọ́n take on behalf of Canadian government ni, they are acting as proxies to Canadian government, and you know, they are the representative and the authorized representative of Canadian government. But you know, àwọn náà lè sọ pé ó wà okay kéèyàn wá sí country wọn kọ́ fún wọn visa, àwọn kan náà lè sọ pé kò wá okay, mọ́ ní prerogative yẹn láti sọ pé tó máa wá kó wá àtẹ̀ntí kò ní wá pé kó jókòó. But at the same time, authority Canada náà ló invite àwọn sójà wa, ibo wá ni wọ́n ti fa confusion yìí wáyé. You understand? You know, kò yẹ wọ́n lè ṣe lè ṣe anybody, but kò yẹ kó jẹ́ army chief Nigeria. You know, eléyìí ò ṣe in the interest of Nigerian people. It's a slap on Nigeria, and kò yẹ kí nǹkan báyìí máa wáyé. But ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ Nigeria ni mo mọ̀ pé kí n fi yẹn kàn náà dẹ̀ up nínú wọn dùn sí kinní, wọn ò mind pé ó ṣẹlẹ̀, torí wọ́n ti máa ń sọ pé àwọn olórí wa kàn fìdí jókòó sílé, pé káwọn countries abroad yẹn, àwọn foreign countries kàn yé gbà wọn jókòó sọ́dọ̀ wọn, kàn yé jẹ́ kàn kó tó bá jí Nàìjíríà wá síbẹ̀, kàn yé wá ṣe treatment, kàn yé ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀, pé tí àwọn government yẹn tó bá ń refuse, especially àwọn legislator àtàwọn public officers, àwọn governor, àwọn ministers àti gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ṣe public servant yẹn, pé tí wọ́n bá gbà wọn láyè tó ń deny wọn visa, tó ń deny wọn, pé àwọn èèyàn á fìdí mọ́lé, wọ́n dẹ̀ ní máa jó wa kó lọ síbẹ̀ yẹn, wọ́n á tún hospital wa ṣe, àwọn ọmọ ọgọ́ náà, àwọn kan ti sọ pé kán yí gbà wọn sí school, oríṣiríṣi làwọn èèyàn sọ, so inú àwọn èèyàn kan dùn sí, but eléyìí diplomatic issue lélẹ́yìí, this is issue of Nigeria and Canada, and it has to be responded to appropriately. Body language yìí àwọn Canada láti rí yẹn, ó ní nǹkan tó ń fi kíní yẹn sọ, bóyá nítorí man CGS City of Defence Staff CDS ó jáde láti wá sọ lẹ́jọ́ mẹ́ta yìí pé àwọn aid agencies pé ó ní àwọn àgàbàgebè tí wọ́n ń ṣe tí kò dẹ̀ yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. She understand ní Nigeria, mi mọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ṣáà read minutes sí mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé Ministry of Foreign Affairs wọ́n ní right láti respond sí kinní yìí àbí ambassador wa àbí ẹni tó jẹ́ high commissioner wa ní Canada wọ́n ní right láti respond sí kinní mo dẹ̀ hope pé nǹkan tí wọ́n máa ṣe nìyẹn the only thing ni pé Ribadu tó sọ̀rọ̀ kò sọ̀rọ̀ strategically kò dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn in a moderate tone nǹkan tó sọ well ó lè ro lọ́kàn ẹ̀ go to hell yẹn náà ló yẹ kó jẹ́ pé ta ní Canada pé kọ́ńkọ́ra ọ̀hún dànù but kò yẹ kó ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ní òyìnbó in diplomacy from country to country ẹ ṣe but mo ti sọ tí country méjì bá jà àwọn citizen ẹ̀ ló máa suffer mo mọ America ni mo wà yìí wọn bí mi síbí situation Nigeria náà ló lé mi wá síbí situation Nigeria náà ló lé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tó wà ní Canada lọ síbẹ̀ wọn dẹ̀ ní wà happy kíjà máa ṣe láàrin Nigeria àti Canada ṣe ti understand tó bá yẹ pé ìlú wa dá ní kí ni gbogbo àwọn wá kiri lọ́jọ́ orí lóò èèyàn lè lọ́bẹ̀ kó lọ kàwé kó tún padà o but at the same time púpọ̀ náà àwọn tó wà lọ́hùn bíi pé wàhálà ibi Nigeria ló lé wọn dé àbí ìṣòro Nigeria ni ó lé wọn dé and then gbogbo àwọn táwọn àmì bá ṣe là ń lo skill wa láti build àwọn countries gbogbo skill táwọn máa lò nílé gbogbo àwọn ará Canada náà kì í ṣe pé everybody náà ló dùn sí pé kó wà ní ẹ̀yìn odi so irú Ribadu sìn àmì ó ti jẹ́ ó ti yóò irú ọkọ ló yẹ kó tún wọn máa di àlàáfíà àwọn tí wọ́n wà ní àwọn abroad lọ́wọ́ by creating additional problem mo sure pé àwọn Nigerian embassy àti Nigerian commission àti Nigerian foreign affairs ministry wọ́n á ṣe damage control lórí eléyìí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nítorí pé a máa respond a máa fún Canada náà jẹ wọ́n ṣe fún wa jẹ a máa dá padà fún wọn ṣùgbọ́n a máa dá padà gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè ṣe ń ṣe àwọn òṣàwà sí press láti máa sọ̀rọ̀ sí àwọn èèyàn wa wọ́n kàn ṣe kan tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe ni ṣe ti understand so a lot of this ló push àwọn èèyàn wa lọ sí òkè òkun àtúnfẹ́ wàhálà fún wọn ní amòye tí àwọn èèyàn ń dá láti ibi tán wà bó ṣe jẹ́ pé ó ṣe tó kò ṣe tó jẹ́ pé ẹlòmíì wọ́n ṣáà lọ fara ṣiṣẹ́ ni but wọ́n láwọn tó ń ràn lọ́wọ́ ńlé fún Ribadu mo respect ẹ gan you are a very brilliant mind you are a brilliant public servant you are a brilliant public administrator you are a super performer and every role that you have been given you have always delivered. Though I'm still looking at this NSA role and I hope that you will come through for Nigeria to settle the security issues. But this one was not in your place to actually have said those words the way you said it. What you said was right. You said the right thing in the wrong way and it did not show any tact or diplomacy. I'm waiting to see because I know that it's actually BS from Canada and I'm sure that Nigeria will give it back to them. We are not going to, I know Nigeria is not going to let it slide, because there's nothing Nigeria is afraid of, but these are remarks that you should have made privately, not out there having a conversation that is being televised. Your private opinion is your private opinion and you have spoken, and I don't think your views represent the way Nigerian government would have said it, because there are better ways of professionally and diplomatically and strategically and tactically and handling this kind of thing as a sovereign. Okay, so Mr. Ribadu, should Canada show you wọ́n should go to hell by insane? Àbí kí la fẹ́ pe statement yẹn? Ṣé Canada should go to hell? Àbí kí lẹ ń rò sọ́kàn? Ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa kí ni èrò tí yín lórí eléyìí? Ẹ bá mi like fídíò yìí, kẹ́ bá mi subscribe sí channel yìí. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ fún wa subscription yìí. Channel wa sọ pé ní inú statistics wa inú analytics ó sọ pé only 25 people out of 100 náà ṣe ń subscribe. Kẹ́yìn náà bá wa subscribe. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Mr. Ribadu, ẹ ṣọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ sọ ní ìgbà míì. Ṣé kí Canada should go to hell? Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́? Ẹ ṣé. Gẹ́gẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ṣe mọ̀ wípé ó jinlẹ̀ púpọ̀ ó dìbò. Ó jinlẹ̀ púpọ̀ ó dìbò.